Okay, day 23. The evening wildlife sings a symphony. And I've got to be honest, this is probably the quirkiest song in the entire album. And it's a lot of fun to me. And I'm really excited for you to hear it. That was laggy, whatever. So, the other day I was coming home a little later than normal. It was quite a bit later than normal. I don't know what we were out doing, but it was storming and we came home and I was trying, or I guess like we came inside and it just got through pouring rain. Sorry, I'm getting caught up on my words. And on the way inside, I realized that like I just heard this insane amount of frogs croaking in the distance. And I say that's literally thundering right now. I don't know if you can hear that or not. But like there's just this insane amount of frogs croaking in the distance. And we live in like kind of some flatland area anyway, and it's not uncommon for us to get frogs when summertime, late spring starts coming around. But there was just a lot of frogs, so they almost sounded like they were a symphony. It was intense. Like you know how like when you're out, maybe if you've been camping or whatever, you've been out in rural areas and just like crickets are overwhelmingly loud. That's how it was with these frogs. Like imagine thousands of frogs. And so I threw my phone on the front porch real quick, hit the record button, went inside for a few minutes, came back out, put it in my storage. I'm like, I'm going to use this for something. So I thought, what better place than right around here where we're wandering through the forest? And so it's getting late in this series, or I guess like in this day represented here, walking through the woods. We've been journeying through the forest, and now it's come time for the forest to sing its nocturnal symphony, or I guess it's evening symphony heading toward night. And so that's what this track is. And I used that sample of all the frogs. I wanted this to sound very Cajun-y, as much as I could try to pull off so far with what I know. But yeah, I really wanted to sound kind of have a Cajun feel to it. And I wanted to sound organic, so I didn't do a lot of like quantization, and like I really just did like a lot of soloing stuff in here, used some organ, just did some soloing, and I tried not to make it perfect. I wanted it to be rough around the edges, almost like live music. I actually mixed this one with my speakers more than my headphones just to try to give it that live music sound. So let's go ahead and listen to day 23. frogs sing us out, just like they sing us in. So this is actually a gapless track, so you'll hear it right there where it kind of kicks off because it doesn't actually have a smooth ending point. It transitions right over into the next track. So if you ever played Banjo Kazooie, I've mentioned it once before. Vintage video games had like the best music. N64 era games, spot on with their music. There's a swamp level in Banjo Kazooie. This just reminded me of it right out of the gate. The marimba little walk around there that was kind of going on there with the accordion sounds in the background, very Banjo Kazooie esque. So if you or if you ever played N64 games, especially that one, you'll understand what I mean by that. But very reminiscent of that to me. So, also something else, real quick to note about this, since I've already kind of told you about the frogs and the whole thought behind it and everything, the only other thing really that I wanted to kind of share about this was this is, I believe, the only track, maybe one of two, that it has an actual bass line in it that isn't played by the same bass. Most of the basses I have used throughout the entire thing is the same upright bass sample. And I play it on the keyboard, and that's been the bass that I've used throughout this entire album. I think actually every song that's had the bass in it has been that. That didn't have the right sound. I wanted kind of a brassy sound for a lot of this. I wanted it to sound very bayou, very raw, organic feel. And that upright bass was good, which is, I mean, that is a raw organic instrument. But I wanted to try to stay away from stringed instruments the most I could. That's why you have like the pipe organ and stuff like that. So for the bass line, I actually tried for a little while to use a tuba sample I had that I couldn't get to sound right and blend quite right. So I used the automaton. So the bass line to this whole song is literally the automaton. He has a switch on the back for like high, mids, and lows. And that's what I used. And I thought it was cool because he's been used in tracks 4 and 7. I know 7, and I think 4 was the other one, for kind of the Wanderer sound. And so I didn't really have another place for him to fit right yet because the Wanderers aren't really part of the second half of this. But he worked great as a bass. And so I thought it was a lot of fun to incorporate him back in, especially because a lot of y'all know me because of this little instrument right here. So me and Odie got to rock out on this track as well. But anyways, that is all I have for this one. If you would ever so kindly go over there and hit that subscribe button, find me on my other social, and let me know what you think about this track in the comments. I would love to hear from you. And until then, I guess I will see you tomorrow on day 24.